Hello and welcome to the Non-Perfect Parents Club podcast. I'm Emma, a mama of 2 girls, an ex-nursery practitioner and the creator of the Non-Perfect Parents Club. The Non-Perfect Parents Club is all about support, honesty, truths, acknowledging that none of us can be perfect parents because it's impossible, and basically just speaking the unspoken. The only rule here is no judgment allowed. I love hearing people's stories. I love finding out about other parents, their family dynamics, their values and how they tick. So that is what this podcast is going to be. Some great honest conversations about parenting, hopefully delving into some nitty-gritty thoughts and feelings that will make us all laugh, cry and sigh a big sigh of relief. Hello and welcome back to the Non-Perfect Parents Club podcast. Today I'm joined by Kelly, mum of 3. Hello Kelly and welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So if you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your family dynamic and any heritage.
Okie dokie. Mama of 3, so I've got quite an age gap. 18-year-old, 6-year-old and a 7-year-old. So 11 is our lucky number. Mm-hmm. We've got 11 years between 1 and 2 and 11 months between 2 and 3. I'm now married and we met 22 years ago actually last week.
Aww.
Not that I reminded him. I was just go with the day, don't you?
Yeah.
I come from a blended family, so I was one of 7. Eldest girl, and really lovely. We were all brought up really equal.
Yeah.
So I have like full sister, step brothers and sisters, half brothers. But to me, and for everyone, we were just all brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Which was really, really nice.
Yeah.
And that's it, really. Yeah.
Cool. I didn't actually know, like, obviously I know a little bit about your family dynamic because I know you, but I didn't know that it was only you and your sister that were like full sisters. So I guess that shows that.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
I think there's people that you are closer to.
Yeah.
Like I grew up with my sister that was 18 months younger than me. So we went through a lot at the same time, you know, like going to school and high school, sharing a bedroom. Compared to my younger sister, I was 15 when she was born. Right. But then I'm a lot closer to her now. She's like early 20s. She's living her best life. And then also you go through phases, don't you? So my second youngest sister has got a little girl that's the same age as my little girl. Aww. So yeah, it's just a phase of life, isn't it, really?
Yep. Okay, so the main rule of the Non-Perfect Parents Club is no judgment allowed. Have you ever felt judged in your parenting? Can you tell us about it?
100% yes. And who hasn't?
Very true.
Thinking about it though, I do feel like it's a lot less recently. I don't know whether that's an age and a confidence thing.
Yeah.
Or is it who you're surrounded by? And I don't want to blab on about this, but if you're surrounded by judgy people who you see judging other people and you think, oh God, what are they saying about me? And because you see other people judging, you expect it because you think, oh, it must be normal, everyone does it. Yeah,
that's a really good point.
But then I think if you surround yourself with people who have different thoughts, have different opinions, things might not work for them that way, or they might not agree with it, but you don't need to be a knob about it, do you?
Yeah. Well, that's it, isn't it?
Really. So, but yeah, I felt judged. I was a young mum. We had our eldest when I was almost 22, he was 24. And I remember things like we go to baby groups, and I remember being sitting in a corner with a lovely girl that had a baby at the same time as me, bit of a hippie mum. Yeah. And everyone else was offered tea and biscuits but us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. And you're just like, wow.
It's so strange, isn't it? I just don't get it at all.
I know. But then I just think, I don't want to sit with you anyway.
Well, that's it.
I think everything, like being a career mum, being a working mum, on the other side of that, taking maternity and not working for a year and not financially contributing, and I think the age gap was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of comments on that?
A lot of comments. And it's hard when you're hormonal, isn't it? When you're pregnant and people are like, oh, that'd be the worst thing that happened to me. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
You've had your 3 kids.
Yeah.
But this is what we want.
Yeah.
So please just try and be happy for us.
Yeah.
You can go home and think, oh, thank God it's not
me.
Because I'm there now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, age gap. And then also the small age gap as well.
Yeah.
Like I remember a family member saying, oh, what have you gone and done that for? Well, I had the implant in my arm, so actually I didn't go and do anything, but life happened.
Yeah, and even if you had...
beautiful. Isn't it? I mean, God, it's hard. But people go through some horrendous things with their children. And if having 2 babies in a year is awful to someone, I just think, it's not awful.
No.
You know, it's lovely.
Did you find... which was there an age gap that you found harder? Like the bigger one or the smaller one?
I don't know. I think there's pros and cons. I think it was really good, the 11-year age gap, because our eldest was almost at high school.
Yeah. And
she wanted to do her own thing.
Yeah.
Sleepovers, you know, it was where we were like, oh, you can go on the bus and you can go to town with your friends. So I could do the baby thing without feeling too guilty that, oh, we've not gone out this weekend because this baby's just feeding all the time.
Yeah.
So that was really good. But then it's hard starting again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The little age gap, there was times that were absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, I bet.
Absolutely. Like, I'd literally just sit in the same room with 2 babies.
Yeah.
Feeding, like one was breast, one was bottle, and it'd be 3 p.m. and I'd not seen anyone all day.
Yeah.
And I was just covered in baby sick and baby poo. And then before I knew it, it was 3 a.m. and I was still in the same room with these babies, still feeding, in the same clothes. And I'm like, when are we going to get a shower?
Yeah.
But then also, what you do for one is easy enough to do for 2.
Yeah.
You know? And it was, we always wanted 3. And I just think maybe if we'd had the ideal age gap, 2, 3, 5 years, whatever people believe it is, to go through it all of nappies and sleepless nights and then get to a phase and then do it again so soon. I just think, oh, I just bashed it out. Done. Yeah. So there's pros and cons, and it's what works for your family as well. Like having more children was on the agenda, but I was at uni when I had our eldest, and it was about, you know, career, becoming more financially stable, and then it was like, well, actually we just want to like have a holiday, enjoy life, and you know, it was a struggle. So it's just pros and cons of everything, and it doesn't matter, does it?
No,
at all. I've got friends that have got the 2-year age gap, pros and cons, 5-year age gap, pros and cons. You know, friends that have got 21-year age gap, pros and cons.
That's it. And it's so funny, isn't it? I mean, it's obviously like a sociological thing of this, what is the right age gap, because there's 8 years between me and my sister, and I remember even then that was like, oh, like, you know, 8 years, it was like a deal, and it's like, oh, why, what, like you say, when is what is the right age gap, because there's pros and cons to you just
and I also think as well, like our middle child, we tried for quite a while for him, and you know, people are like, you're not going to have another one. Well, you don't know what we're going through.
No, that's
you know what I mean? And it was just one of them that, and it's really weird, really, because both my girls were like conceived on contraception. And then my son, that we tried for, you know, took a while, but yeah. I think another thing I feel judged about is who I leave my children with. I am really fussy, and I don't think it's a big judgment, but you know, there's been times where it's like, oh, are you coming to my wedding? And then and it'd be someone that I don't really know. I might not even know him if I see him in Asda. Do you know what I mean? It'd be like my husband's friends.
Yeah.
That I don't know. But then I'm like, well, I don't really want to just.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I am just a little bit funny about that. I read this thing the other day. It sounds really, but I am just one of them mums.
And that's okay, isn't it?
Like if I give you my child, I give you a piece of my heart.
Yeah.
And I just think, so I'm not just gonna be like, oh, I'm off out for the weekend, just go and stay with them. Yeah, it's
that's
just
it.
me though. But
yeah, and I think again, it's like, it's a balance. Like with everything, it's a balance thing of like that thing of asking for help if you need it, but then at the same time, you don't have to give your children to people if you don't want. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm a bit like that. I think I've got more. I think I've found that easier as I've got older, and my children are older, because they can obviously speak for themselves now, and it's not that thing of, oh, they're not, the routine doesn't matter what you feed them, they can tell you themselves what they can and can't have, and that kind of stuff. But I know what you mean, and it's a like I say, it's that balance, isn't it? And sometimes now especially, like, you don't always have that support network to leave your children with. Like, we don't have a very big support network. There's only a few people that I would be happy to leave my girls with.
I mean, mine are 6 and 7, and they've slept out twice.
Right.
I mean, obviously COVID had a little bit to do with that, but it's a case of like this wedding thing. I remember the youngest, she was like under 1.
Yeah.
So they would have been like nearly 1, nearly 2, and it's like, and they're like, oh, we'll just separate them. No, because they've all they've got. Do you know what I mean? That would. But I don't. It's not a big thing, and I'm just like, oh no, it's tough. Yeah. But it has been like, oh well, why don't you just do this? Yeah. Because of my kids, and I'm just not gonna palm them off so I can go and live my best life. Yeah. Because they come first. But I do agree with, like, as they are older, like 6 and 7 now, you know, they can say things, can't they? Yeah. And they can also like you know, things. I think that's a big thing as well, is like trusting people. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or seeing how they are and thinking, And that goes on to my next one, is that, you know, a little bit like this, but our middle child, sort of like suspected ADHD, autism, ASD sort of thing. And I just know that the way that some people are would not help him. Yeah. And when we did go away last October, for about a week after, he had like tics. Aww. And it was like the stress of it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he was so happy. Yeah. And I knew he was fine, but that just really massively affected him. And that's another thing that I've been massively judged on, is him and his behaviours that don't fit the norm. Yeah. And it's about picking your battles, isn't it? Yeah.
It's funny because my youngest is she's very particular about things, and for a long time, I mean, it's only getting to a point now where I would be happy to leave her with certain people, but it's like you say, people just say, oh, I'll just leave them with such and such, and it'd be like, well, I don't want to, because they don't get her. Yeah. Like, she's really particular, there's just a whole load of things that I get, but not many people other than me do. Like, even sometimes my husband doesn't get them, and I have to kind of explain it and stuff, and it's putting them in that position as well. And she hates being separated from us, but particularly me. And like, even like when we're doing stuff and it's generally my mum and dad that look after them overnight, and even that, she'll kick off about it. Like, she's fine when she's there, she's happy, but the thought of being separated from me, she just doesn't like. My eldest has always been alright like that. I think she probably prefers to be with us, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And again, like you say, behaviour is one thing that I've noticed massively judged on.
Yeah, it's how they're coping though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I found I basically can't parent him as a brackets, normal, close brackets child. I cannot parent him the way I parented my girls.
Yeah.
Because it does not work.
Yeah.
You know, things like reward charts, setting him up to fail.
Yeah.
I do that, and especially because he's got his sister.
Yeah.
He's like, you do this and you get a sticker. Oh, yes, Mummy, of course I will. Mummy, can I do anything else to get another sticker?
Aww.
Where he's just like, well, I can't compete against her, then, can I?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's probably the most recent thing. And I also think as well, like a generation thing, is that they're just a naughty child.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Sometimes my kids are naughty.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Of course they are, the kids.
Yeah.
But he isn't doing it to be naughty.
Yeah.
He's doing it because he doesn't feel great about the situation. He's not coping well.
Yeah.
You know, he's got all these feelings and emotions and he can't communicate them.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's consequences and they get punished. They're both grounded tonight, actually. Talking about that. Oh, God. And then you think, oh, God, I wish they weren't grounded. Then they could go out and play.
Yeah,
I just shot myself in the foot there.
Yeah.
You know, and of course there is consequences and boundaries and stuff. But, you know, it
like
just drives me mad. And they're a little human being, and just because you're an adult, doesn't mean that you're right.
Yeah.
And what you say should go.
Yeah.
And obviously you should give respect, but you should give respect to everybody, whether it's an adult or a child, and you should respect them as well.
Yeah. And I think there's such big expectations on children. Like, even as adults, we can't always control ourselves.
No.
So how do we expect children and young children to be able to do that?
Yeah.
You know, it's such huge expectations when they're only just kind of starting out in the world and finding what's what, isn't it?
Yeah. And we all have, like, bad days.
Yeah.
You know, we all have weeks or months where things aren't too great, and we all, like, lose our shit and stuff.
Yeah.
And just because they're 7, you know, it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could just go on about it for ages and ages.
Okay, so how do you feel about parenting? Good, bad? Has it changed you? Any regrets? Everyone always says that's a massive question. So
it is, yeah. I love parenting. I do. In fact, that's all I've ever wanted to do. Like, I knew from being a little girl. And my youngest is the same as well. She just can't wait to grow up and be a mum. It has absolutely changed me, and I think in a good way. And it's brought out, like, the fighter in me. You know, because, like, you're the advocate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing, and it's probably me and, like, my anxiety, is the worrying.
Yeah.
And I remember when our eldest was younger, and I don't know, she had a cough or a cold or something. And I remember I was like the eldest girl. I'd been brought up with loads of kids.
Yeah.
I had, like, godchildren before she was born. And you just think, oh, just give them some Calpol, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But when it's yours, give them some Calpol and you'll be fine It's just like, but are they fine? How much candle do I give them? Have I given them too much candle? So yeah, the worrying you do, and like that whole, did I do enough? You know, am I doing the right thing? And especially with our middle child, because what I know from my eldest and my youngest, who we do parent differently, we're in different situations, you know. But then I also just think, am I doing my best? Because that's all you can do at that given time. And sometimes your best is 70%. Sometimes it's 17%. But as long as you're doing your best, But yeah, say the worrying.
Yeah, and with that, it's
everything.
I think it's that responsibility, isn't it? Like, I found it's the weight of the responsibility because it's just me, and like it's like I've got really bad health anxiety, so when they're poorly, that's like a huge
I feel
thing for
poorly
me.
when my children are poorly. And you know, it's like when they have a bug and then you think, am I actually poorly? Or am I just being weird? Have they given me that sickness bug?
And it's just that thing because it's all on you, isn't it? And you're the one making the decisions and basically keeping them alive, aren't you?
And even like when my husband takes them out, like last weekend I was working a long day. It's like, oh, come on kids, we're going to Windermere, and my stomach is like a washing machine because I'm like, oh, what if the car in a car accident? You know what? And I just worry, and it's not that I don't trust him. He's an amazing dad. But that's my whole life there. Do you know what I mean? And then I just think, shut up, Kelly. Get on with your work. Being an idiot. Because
it's
worrying
those,
about
like,
it.
intrusive thoughts, isn't it? And that separating them from that rationality of...
And it doesn't change anything, does it? Like, worrying is wasted energy. So you do just have to have a little worry and be like, right, that's enough now. Come on. Pull yourself together. And just hope the phone doesn't ring. But yeah, absolutely no regrets at all. I just think I wouldn't be where I am now. You know? No regrets. I think we're very lucky.
Is there anything in your life that has shaped how you parent that you're happy to talk about? Any situations, circumstances that have affected this?
I am, like I just said then, I feel really lucky that there's not been anything awful. Probably my childhood, in that I took what was good and I've changed what I think needed changing. And I don't mean that to be critical at all. And I think that's led us to where we are now. And that's it really. I've got a little note here. Work-life balance, which changes. Yeah, it does. It changes with as the children grow, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? And I've changed jobs because of that, and I've changed careers and things like that because that's what I felt that I needed. And maybe it's a little bit selfish, but I just want to take my kids to school. I want to pick them up from school. I want to be the one that they're ill and I'm home with them. I want to live for every day. That's my thing, rather than live for a 2-week holiday. And people do that, and they're brilliant career mums, and it works for them. Amazing. Absolutely take my hat off to you. But for me, maybe because there was a lot of career focus when I was growing up. But I don't think it's a be all and end all. I think being happy is the most important thing.
And I think we're kind of encouraged conflicting lifestyles really, aren't we? Like when you're at school and leaving school, it's all about, you know, what you're going to do next, getting your career and stuff. And like you, I always just wanted to be a mum. And we had my eldest quite young. We didn't feel young at the time, but looking back now, we were like, wow, we were actually like really young. And then all I wanted to do was be mum, and like you say, I wanted to do the school runs and be there and be the one at home and stuff. But then when you're doing that, it's like, so you have your maternity, and it's like, well, when are you going back to work? When are you doing this? And then you're expected to work, but then you're expected to be at all the school performances, and you know, like it's so conflicting for mums, whereas dads, like, I know it's not the case for everyone, and it is slightly starting to change now, but do they ever even have to think about it? Like for us, it was just, I'm the one taking the maternity, and then he'll just go back to work, which is what we wanted at the time. But then at the same time, now I'm in like a different season of parenting, and I'm wanting to focus on my work and stuff. It's like, well, I've always done that, but now I need support so that I can work, and it's a different dynamic that's now tough to navigate because it's never been that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I also think as well that with our relationship, as much as I am the default parent and it is me that's done all that, I wouldn't want him to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am happy. But then I also think he deals with a lot of shit as well at work that I probably don't know about.
Yeah.
But it's communication, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, that's the key thing in everything,
absolutely.
I think, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think, like, you do lose yourself in certain seasons of parenting, don't you?
Totally.
And then I remember with our eldest, she was literally nearly 2. And I went out, I think it was like a friend's hen do or something. Yeah. And for the first time in like nearly 3 years, I felt like Kelly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took that long. And then the same with the little ones. I mean, I think COVID thingied it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it is, I'd probably say only this last year. No, you know, when the youngest was 5. You know, that you can do things and you can be like, oh yeah, I'll do that for me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I found that as well, because obviously my youngest is the same age as your middle one. And I found like this last year, maybe not even quite that long, but I feel like we've fully entered a different season of parenting now, and I'm getting a little bit of me back, and there's stuff that I'm like remembering that I'm like, oh no, I like doing that. I used to do that all the time. And like, I found the first year or 2 for each of them when they were born, completely lost myself. But particularly this last year, now we're like, so my eldest is 12 and youngest is 7. It's like, oh wow, this is good. Like, I'm enjoying this at the minute. Like,
and I've said to you before, it's like, it's okay to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and when they're like young and you give everything, like your body, your soul, your mind, and I wouldn't want to change that. No. You know, I wouldn't want it to have been any other way for us. But now we've moved on, I feel like I am being a little bit selfish. But then I'm like, am I being selfish? Is it not okay for me to do X, Y, Z? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And
and we've got to remember that throughout it all, even in the thickest, darkest steps of motherhood, we are still people. Yeah. And I always, because obviously I think that sometimes too, and there'll be stuff and I think, oh God, but then I'll flip it and I'll think, well, if either of my girls were in my situation and doing this, what would I say to them? And I know that I'd be like, no, you're not being selfish, get out there, go on, you know, there's you're still you too, and you've got to still be a person. And then that makes me think I've got to role model that to them.
Yeah, that's a good...
Because if I don't, then they won't see that to know that. Do you know what I mean? Because I think there's so many outside views from society and the media and stuff that tells us we should be not just one thing, a whole heap of conflicting things, but it's picking out what you want to be, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, it's showing ethic, isn't it? Like work ethic, family ethic.
And it's hard to get it right in terms of how we want it and how we want to feel, isn't it? But I think we have got to sometimes just take that step and figure it out, haven't we? Like, again, it's that balance.
Oh, it's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we can ever get a balance, but it's trying to balance it a little more than it be uneven, I guess.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think it's harder at the moment, like financially.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably in the best position we've been in, work-life balance.
Yeah.
But me and my husband are really affected by it because we don't have a lot of time together. Yeah. Because he works full-time, main breadwinner, blah, blah, blah. I do the house and the kids, but I also work full-time around those. So he gets up in the morning, I'm asleep, and then he gets in from work. I'm literally on the drive in the car, see you later, go to work, get home, he's asleep. I do like long days, so like he'll have the kids at a weekend, which is lovely. They call it like daddy days and stuff. And then one day through the week as well. So we only pay wraparound childcare for 1 day a week. We only have 1 day a week to cover in the holidays, which even I'm finding that hard now. 6 weeks holidays. I've only got 4 out of 6 covered days that I need covering. It's like, how do people work full time in the 6 weeks holidays without it costing you thousands and thousands of pounds? God, where was I? But yeah, something always suffers, and at the moment it is me and my husband not having that quality time together. But then on the other hand, it is really nice because then I get 2 evenings off a week, and there's always something to do. He really likes golfing, but that's another podcast. But then it's like, oh, we're gonna have tea together tonight. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, what do you want? It's like, do you want me to cook your steak? And I'm like, and it's really lovely. And like, we look forward to that all week, having that time. We're actually in the bit where it's like, don't bother putting the kids to bed because they're just going to get up and down and noise anyway. So we just do it when they're chilling before bed. But yeah, it is really, really hard. There is no work-life balance.
No, there's not. I don't think. No.
Either you suffers, the finance suffers, the kids suffer, the house suffers.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Like, I find if I'm on like top of my game work-wise, the house is just like chaotic. I mean, I indulge myself. I have a cleaner once a week because otherwise I just couldn't do everything that I do and have a house that has a cleanliness that's fit to live in. But if I'm on top of my game at work, the house is chaotic. But then when I'm like on top of my game, housework, like being a great mum with the kids, you know, like playing and doing all this stuff, like work is just like, at the minute I'm so snowed under because we've had all these bank holidays, we've had strike days, we've had school holidays, my husband's been away, so I've been focusing on the kids and all that kind of stuff. So work is just like,
and it's really overwhelming when it gets like that, isn't it?
It's trying to like claw your way back, isn't it, and get it back to an
like,
even...
what do you drop?
Yeah,
because it is just constantly spinning plates, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Okay, I knew we'd go off on some tangents. Where were we up to? What is your biggest value when it comes to parenting? I think this is my favourite question that I ask everybody.
Listen to your children. And I think that leads on to a lot of things. And communication.
Yes.
And from that, there's things like honest and trust and lying. But it's all about communicating with them, but listen to them as well. You know, for me, I've done it a lot more with our middle child. Like from being 11 months old, I knew he was a bit special. Bless him. Do you know what I mean? It's like, is it a boy thing or what? But and you can also see beyond the behaviour. I think. So like last week, our youngest being a bit of a brat in the morning before school. It's like, why are you behaving like this? You're not the one that does this. It's the other one. And obviously he's like getting dressed and being really good. Like, look at me, Mum. Can I go and get my bike? Can I ride my bike to school? Put your helmet on. I don't want to wear the helmet. Put your helmet on. And that's like a sensory thing for him. Like putting his helmet on is horrendous. Sun cream this morning. I had to literally take it to school with me, knowing the headmistress would be on the gate and be like, right, come and get your sun cream on. And he just looked at her and she was like, go on, kick off in front of her. But yes, then you can see beyond the behaviour. Like I said, like she was kicking off, being a bit of a brat. And I wanted to shout and scream and ground her and stuff, but it didn't solve anything. Does it?
No,
really. And I've done it. I have. I've lost my shit with my kids. Of course I have. But chatting to her, you know, we make it into a game and stuff, and then it was all about friendships. And she didn't want to go to school because there's just stuff that had happened. It was no biggie. At the end of the day, they were besties again. But there's a reason,
root, isn't there?
You know, and sometimes they're just hot, sometimes they're tired, sometimes they're not very well. I remember my eldest, she'd always be an absolute jerk before she got poorly. And I could really like click into it. Like if I had an awful day with her, I was like, she's going to be ill. And it's because she didn't feel well.
Gosh.
But she was like 18 months, 2 years old. They don't know they don't feel well, do they? So listening to your children. Listen to the little things and the big things. Especially as they get older. I know I've probably talked a lot about my younger ones, mainly because I don't want to embarrass my eldest.
I bet you're not allowed to say anything.
I might just not even tell her I've done it. And communication. And then you tagged me in that thing the other day, didn't you, about like chats in the car and stuff.
This is my one thing that I always think of you whenever I see anything like that, or whenever there's anything and I think car chats, like that was always your one piece of advice that stuck with me.
It just worked. And you know, I have been guilty of the first child syndrome. Like, oh, it worked, this must be the right way. And it worked. It probably won't work for my second. Because everything else didn't work for him. But communication. And you don't always have to talk about it at the time, do you? You know, calm down, let a day or two, and let them come to you. And if they can't come to you, meet them where they're at. You know, if they're in the bedroom and they're just on the phone, and you're just like, it's beautiful outside, what are you doing? Don't go in and be negative about it.
Start like,
you know,
opening the blinds when you open the curtains.
Do you want a drink? Anything I can do.
Get out now.
Or I just plonk on the bed and have a little rant. You know, or did you see this on TikTok? You know, and then that opens other lines of communication, doesn't it? And there's been times where my eldest has been like, oh, like, I thought you were, like, really mad with me, and I'm like, no, why? And she's like, well, because you just didn't really, like, talk to me for a little bit. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm really sorry. It's like, I didn't mean to. I was just like, everyone's busy, but then she was able to say to me, Mum, I felt this way because you were being like this, and then make sure it doesn't happen again.
And that's it, and that's, like, I see in everything that I've do and done, and communication is such a huge thing, and so often people can't communicate. That was always like a big thing for me with my girls, and letting them know that they can come to me and say like, oh mum, you've done this and it upset me, or you know, this happened, and then I know in myself that I don't have to be defensive, that it's okay to be like, oh, I'm really sorry, and then you can deal with it, and like you say, it doesn't have to happen again, or if it does, at least you know what you've done,
because you can't second guess, can you?
No.
Like, I work with our eldest sometimes, and she said stuff to me, and I'm like, oh God, I didn't realise you felt like that about that. Do you know what I mean? And then also, as they get older, I mean, it's really scary, isn't it? I would not want to be a teenager nowadays at all. No. Like, social media and like drugs and stuff like that it is really scary. And when you need to have like chats and stuff, and sometimes there's times where you don't chat a lot, and I remember COVID, she was doing a mox, bless her, and she was literally just stuck in a room, because I had a 2 and a 3-year-old. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, thankfully, like, we were in the garden and stuff, but we had this thing where we'd save stuff on our phones, and then we'd get in bed together. Aww. And even that's communication. You know, we were laughing together. We were having that little bit of time together, and, you know, it was just like cat videos and stuff. But then it goes on to other bigger things. Cat videos. Yeah. Yeah. That's cute. Yeah, it does go on to bigger things, and then it just leads you down the line, doesn't it? And you don't have to lecture them. You don't have to. Yeah.
And I think there's this such big thing of, as they get older and they get to teens and they're awful and you can't talk to them and blah blah blah, and like, I know there is all of that, but there still is ways to connect with them. Like, the more people that I've been speaking to recently, I've spoken to quite a few people, and there's little snippets within conversations, and like, yes, there is still lots of ways that you can connect with your teen. You've just got to find them and find what works. Yeah.
And, you know, and sometimes I've been like, come on, we'll go out, and we've gone like McDonald's drive-through, and she's got one of them frappes or whatever. Yeah. And she's just had her headphones in, and it's like, as much as I'm fuming inside, I think you're so bloody rude. You just got to move on, haven't you? Yeah. You know, that's where she is. Yeah. That's where she's at. And at that point in time, she just needed that. And just getting out of the house and having the drive, and her mum treating her. Yeah. And then there's been other times where she's chatting my head off, and I'm like, shut up. God's sake.
Yeah, and I think no one tells you how to let them go, do they? There's such a big emphasis on baby and looking after them in the right way, and how you should, and doing this and doing that, and blah 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 blah. But then it seems to like stop, and no one tells you how to let them go and how to support them as you're letting them go. And
I think as well, it's like there's a lot of negativity about teenagers. Like, I remember all of them like being young, oh, just wait till they're older. Yeah. Why? Yeah. Because they're pretty good at being an arsehole when they're a toddler. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty ace at being an arsehole when they're a teenager as well. Nothing's going to change. Yeah. But yeah, there is so much negativity about the teenage years. I mean, I'm lucky. She's my firstborn. Yeah. She's a good girl. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I know stuff because she's come and told me. Yeah. You know, and we've navigated through that. Yeah. And there's been stuff she's done, and there's been behaviours that I've had to help her with, because no, that's not right, and it's not acceptable. but they're not all there, are they? Without being horrible.
Yeah.
There's so much that happens in the brain.
Yeah.
You know, and she still does it now. She gets home, 11 o'clock at night, puts a wash on. And I'm like, really? But no, the best bit is, she's going to absolutely kill me for this. She then leaves it in the washer all night. Why don't you just put the wash on at 7 in the morning? Because it's just sat there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not all there, are they? But then I wasn't. I mean, lived on my own and had my own flat from being 16, so I had to be pretty responsible, really. Like paying bills, go to college. Oh, I need to eat. Yeah. Do you remember Quick Save? Like 1 week it's like, I need vinegar for my chips. Like, can I afford vinegar?
I know, yeah.
But yeah, I did things. Like, I remember I lit a candle and I put it under my Christmas tree.
Oh, God.
You know, we all...
Yeah.
You know, it's just where they're at, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think it's remembering that, isn't it? Again, we expect so much of them. And because they're getting older, we have different expectations on them. And it's... Yeah, we need to remember that they are still learning and growing.
And it's also just a number, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like, our eldest is 18 in about 3 weeks. So what does that mean? Mm-hmm. That, I mean, I know obviously what it means in the law and stuff. Yeah. But am I going to be any different with her? Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because some people are at a certain place when they're 18, others are at a certain place when they're 25. Yeah. Some people, and it's like children, isn't it? It's like the whole potty training and reading and learning to ride a bike, and everyone does everything differently. Yeah. We've really gone off now, haven't we?
What has been your biggest challenge so far?
2 babies in 11 months. I don't really think I've had like one big challenge. Yeah. I was just joking with that. It was hard, but life's hard. Parenting's hard, isn't it? Yeah. You know, and like I said before, we've been really lucky. We know we have 3 healthy children. Yeah. You know, we have just been really lucky. I think probably losing myself. Mm-hmm. I found that quite hard, because you can't go back to being who you were before, because you're a different person, aren't you? Yeah. So you have to find yourself again, don't you? And what we've already mentioned, like work-life balance, and being the default parent. Yes. You know, I had this conversation with my husband last night. God, I might not even tell him I've done this, you know. Our middle child has to have this new inhaler, which is an absolute massive sensory thing. Yeah. And where if it was just like, well, our eldest has an inhaler, it's like, here, take this inhaler. Right, okay, Mum, great. Yeah. It doesn't work like that, does it? No. But then I'm like, look, you need to do this when I'm at work. And he's like, yeah, I will. Why are you telling me? Why are you not telling him? And I'm like, I will tell him, but I'm telling you as well, because the thing is, if you don't do this, it doesn't affect you. Yeah. It affects me. Yeah. It's me that's up in the night. It's me that's got to take time off work. It's me that's got to do the doctor's thing if he's got to be off school. Yeah. It's me. And I don't mind that. I don't. And I would rather I did it than he did it, because I want to do it. Yeah. You know? But it is hard, isn't it? Yeah. You know,
and it's frustrating, isn't it? When you know that you would do it, but then you then have to tell them to do it, and then it's like, are they going to remember to do it? And then, like you say, it comes back on you. Yeah. If they don't.
Yeah. So probably, those sort of finding yourself again. Yeah. And being the default parent. But then again, I go back to communication. Like, me and my husband, we've had a tricky weekend. And it's nothing bad. It's just, at the moment, everything's a little bit overwhelming. Yeah. He's, like, got a new job. that he can absolutely do. He'll smash it out of the park, but he's got a lot going on there. And our eldest is just about to finish college, and it's her 18th, and then we're going on holiday, and there's always stuff going on with our middle one. And there's work, like I've not got a single day off this week, and it's, there's just a lot going on, a little bit overwhelming. I've been a bit of a bitch, to be fair. But I told him. Do you know what I mean? And it's the communication, isn't it? It's like, this is going on, but it's okay, we'll get through it. This is why. And we just crack on.
It's like sometimes, like, we'll be in that kind of scenario and, like, I'll be horrible, I'll be, like, so stressed out and snappy, and it's a result of everything that's going on. And then I'll, like, say to my husband, like, he'll say, oh, what's up with you? And I'm like, are you for real? Like, do you honestly not know what's up? And he'll literally be like, no. It's like, wow. So I've had to kind of realise that I don't always say what's wrong. And I think sometimes he does know, he just chooses to pretend not to know. But then other times it's like, oh yeah, I've not made that very clear. And again, it's that communication, isn't it? And if I just say, oh, I'm feeling like this and this, then he knows what's going on and we can work together. Whereas if you don't say anything,
it's a guessing game, isn't it? And people don't know. I texted him actually this morning. I was like, I love you. And he put, you. Thank God for that. You know, and obviously he knew that I loved him. But after the weekend, he was like, it's just...
It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard.
But then I am like, this is our hard, but we're lucky. Aren't we? Do you know what I mean? I think really. I mean, I didn't watch with Soccer Aid on last night.
Oh, I don't know.
But I was in like a group chat and people were talking about it, and I just think, oh God, you just can't even relate, can you?
No.
And sometimes I feel like a bit of a dick. Being like, well, it's hard being a mum.
I think though, like we've all got our own. I think we've got to be allowed to voice and feel our feelings, and like it's our hard, isn't it? So whilst we know that we're lucky and that there is harder out there, it still doesn't mean that it can't be hard, or it doesn't feel hard for us. Like, I think if you pretended that everything was amazing because you didn't have it as hard as other people, I think you'd probably just like, your mind would explode. Because it's just, it would, you're not releasing those things that you're feeling, are you? And I think it's okay to acknowledge that so, you know, we do find stuff hard.
And it's okay to have them feelings, isn't it? It wasn't like very much talked about, was it?
No.
I think with previous generations. But then previous generations were different. Me and my husband had this discussion, and how there was so much more support there. Literally because mums weren't as expected to work or to work as much. You know, like I think about growing up, my nan and granddad lived around the corner. So we'd go there for after tea. If we had to be picked up from school, we'd go there. We'd go there in the holidays. And then my husband, he lived next door to his nana, so he's got loads of lovely memories there as well. And there was just like more, it was like it was the village thing, wasn't it?
And it's like as well, like maybe not when I was a child, but definitely more like my mum and dad, my dad definitely, but then especially my grandparents, was mums didn't have to supervise the children 24/7. You kicked them out the door and they came home for the food at the end of the day. Like there wasn't this, thing, like you didn't take them to school really, you didn't pick them up, they made their own way to and from. You weren't constantly, like, you weren't providing activities, they didn't really do clubs, did they? You know, there's so much more that we do now as mums, that it was so different. And I'm doing a course on this at the minute, I'm learning all about it, and it's really interesting to see how it changes through the generations. And like you say, like, your neighbours would do childcare.
Yeah.
And like when we were growing up, my mum and dad didn't really have that much support. I spent a bit of time at my grandma's, but a lot of the time we'd go next door. She was like just next door neighbour, but she was basically like ended up being like a grandma. And that was like our support, our childcare. But now it's so different.
Yeah. I often wonder, like, is it a different world? Like, obviously it is a different world. But, like, now, I mean, we're really lucky where we live. We live on a little cul-de-sac, and there's, like, 4 or 5 families with children, like, similar age to us. And, like, they all play out and stuff.
Yeah.
And we all kind of take it in turns. Like, I took one's team, I got the trampoline.
Yeah.
Well, the others, they got the paddling pool. And you just sort of, and we'll take them to school for each other, you know, if you wouldn't late. I remember once after my worst day, I was throwing up. I was like, please take my kids to school. You know, we pick them up from school, watch them. Oh, I need to perhaps Tesco, just watch them. And I feel really lucky that we've got that. But is it the fact that it was not available for everyone to know about all the bad stuff when they were younger?
Yeah.
Where now anything happens, everyone knows. It's all over social media. It's all over the news, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, paedophiles have been around forever.
Yeah.
Haven't they?
Yeah.
You can't say it didn't happen then.
No.
But it was just probably the news didn't spread as far, did it?
No, it was the media's completely different, isn't it? You've got a lot more access to it.
But there's no way you could do that now, is there? Like,
no.
with your children, just be like, right, off you pop.
No. And it would be so frowned upon now. Like, you would be, you know, you'd have the social knocking on your door, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, it's just not the done thing now. Right, I think last question. What do you wish you could change about parenting in general, as in for everyone?
I think more support. That would be my big thing.
Yeah.
As a whole, and people need different kinds of support at different times, don't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's advice. Sometimes it's someone to watch your kid while you have a shower. Sometimes it's you know, when you're going through like behavioural things. Sometimes it's teenagers. I think, like, I know, and like we talked about this in our like little members group, that I have judged in the past.
Yeah.
You know, and I do, and I'm not trying to justify it, because hold my hand up, I have. Probably more when I got one child. Yeah. And this works, and also I think sometimes people are like really proud of their achievements, but they just say it at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, support as a whole. So you're not breastfeeding. You don't even need to ask them if they're breastfeeding.
This is it, isn't it?
Do you? But then they're not. Great. You don't need comments. Yeah. I had breastfed 2 out of 3, and one that had the bottle. I had one that had a dummy. Yeah. Because they're all different children. Yeah. They all need different things.
And it's like, I bet no one asked you now with your eldest, like, oh, did you breastfeed her? What age did she potty train? Like, it doesn't matter past a certain point. No one's interested anyway. Like,
is she kind?
Yeah.
You know, is she polite? You know, it's all the things that going out into the world as an adult that I want to be, and for her to be supportive and less judgy of people. You know, and just everything. We had it with schools, actually. our eldest went to the local primary, really, really good primary, brilliant, absolutely thrived. Came to our middle, and I just knew he would not thrive in that school at all. My youngest, could send her anywhere. That's it. So I visited all the more, because we have since moved, with the more local schools, and I went with my gut feeling. But it's not the best out of the three.
Right.
On paper.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I honestly haven't got one single complaint about them at all. They're just brilliant for him and what he needs. And when I went round, I also took both of them. So I had him, I mean, he was 3.
Yeah.
On my hip, head in my shoulder, wouldn't look at anyone, wouldn't talk to anyone. Youngest, she was 2, running around in her little yellow shoes. I'm not even joking you. We went to one part of the building. She opened the fire exit door, legged it, and started playing with all the big kids on the playground. Absolutely loving life. And these teachers that were there dealt with both of them so well. Yeah. They had him out of my arms in the sandpit playing.
Oh.
But then when she legged it, just let her do it.
Yeah.
We'll get her in a minute. Do you know what I mean? And they dealt with them so well. And I remember saying where we were going to send them, and I could be I'm really surprised you're choosing that school. Why?
Oh, really?
Why?
Yeah.
Because I know that that's the best school for my child. I know my child. Yeah. So I didn't need that comment. Fair enough, ask the question. But then,
Yeah.
But I just think more support.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just being listened to, isn't it?
That's it. Sometimes it's just having someone there, isn't it? Or someone that you know you can count on. Yeah. Or go to.
And you can't change stuff. Some people go through, including your children, things, and you physically can't do anything.
Yeah.
Can you?
No.
To help.
Yeah.
But going back to the values, listen to your children, listen to other people, and have someone that can listen to you as well, I think.
Yeah.
That support. I am really lucky. I've got a handful, you go-tos.
Yeah.
That will just absolutely drop anything. But just support each other and be nice, and it might not be what you want to do, and it's fine. Just don't be a knob about it.
Yeah,
when my son, he had a dummy, and we were out, and he had it, and then I came back. I thought it must have been Asda or something, and it had gone, and I was like, "Where's it gone?" I don't know. And then he's started kicking off, because even as a baby, taking him to Asda was horrendous for him. The noise and the lights and stuff, he'd really struggle. And I'd be like, right, I need his dummy. Oh, I don't know where it is, because they didn't agree with him having a dummy.
Oh, really?
And it's no, that isn't being supported.
Yeah, no,
is it?
No.
And he'd never hold food.
Oh,
he was still on pureed food when the youngest was born at nearly 12. He wouldn't hold toast because he freaked him out.
Yeah.
And then you'd have people coming up to you in a cafe. Oh, it looks a bit big to be having that. Piss off.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with you.
No, that's it. It's just those comments, isn't it, that people need to, I guess, think more before they say stuff. Do you need to say this comment?
Yeah.
Or not.
But I know I've definitely probably done it, and people are probably listening and thinking, oh yeah, Kelly, you did that. Because we all do, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
We all change, and we all realise, and I'll probably do it again.
Yeah.
But if I do, I'm really trying not to be a knobhead.
Yeah.
And some people are just doing it because they want to help, don't they?
Yeah.
And also, they're maybe really proud of, because why shouldn't we be proud as parents?
Yeah.
I know they're their own individual little people, but they're our little creations, and I know they're not ours to keep. But, and when you smash something like breastfeeding, which I did fail at, if you want to call it fail, with one of them, then you are really proud of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's it. And it's okay to say that, isn't it? I think a lot of it is we take on other people's things, and it can often bring out our insecurities, and so we sometimes show that in maybe the wrong ways. Whereas like you say, someone that's done amazing at breastfeeding, like, they should be able to shout about that, and other people not feel like threatened isn't the right word, but feel, I don't know what the word is, but insecure about that because they maybe didn't, like.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the first one, like feeling judged.
Yeah.
Are you actually being judged?
Yeah.
Or is it you thinking, well, everyone does it, and they do it about them, so they must be doing it about me, so they must be doing it about me.
Yeah.
And it's internally, isn't it?
It is. It's even things like your children's achievements, and there's someone say, oh, my child's done this, and all they're doing is celebrating what their child has achieved, which is amazing, but then it's like, if your child can't do it, it can set off this, like you say, internal thing, like, oh, they can't do it, should they be doing it? Oh, well, they can do it, they're bragging. And it's not like that at all. Like, I think we've all just got to remember to focus on our own lane, and why can't we celebrate everyone? Why can't we celebrate ourselves and just be happy for everyone? And, you know, world peace, that sounds a little bit like, but you know what I mean? Like, I think so often we take things so personal, and like you say, it sets off this internal thing.
And I'm definitely guilty of that.
I think we all are, aren't we? And I think it's just getting to a place in your mind where you start to notice it, and then remember to figure out what, if you ever feel like that, what it's telling you, and you know, like, focus on what the message actually is.
Yeah.
Rather than feeling defensive or like taking it personally.
I think like we had like a little thing where we had like a celebration at the weekend, and we took our friend's little boy because like they were working and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was just like, my response is, oh, don't worry about it. You can't go to everything.
Yeah.
You know, rather than like, oh my God, I can't believe they're not coming.
Yeah.
Because you just know that some people there will be like, well, where's their parents?
Yeah.
But A, it's none of your business.
Yeah.
And B, you can't do everything.
No.
Can you? You can't go to every little thing. Even if you don't work or have any commitments, there's going to be times where you're ill and stuff.
Yeah. And that's where, if we were all supportive of each other, that's where people can step in. And I can't remember who I chatted about this with recently on the podcast, but it was that thing of other people can enrich our children's lives so much, because we can't do it all. We can't teach them everything. We can't role model everything. And them having a support network, a village, other people in their lives, not only does it take the pressure off you, but they can teach your child so much, and it gives your children that extended network of knowing they've got someone else to go to. It can just create so much extra, I think, in all of our lives.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I don't
before
think
we finish?
So.
No. Brilliant. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to follow, review and share with other parents you know. You can now listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon and Google Podcasts. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please get in touch via any of my social media channels, website or email. Thank you, Kelly, for joining me on today's podcast. It's been great to have you, and thank you to everyone for listening.